In this video tutorial, I will explain how to use the Performance Profiler in ORM. The Performance Profiler helps you identify performance bottlenecks in your application. To enable the profiler, a developer needs to add two special commands to the application: profiling on to turn the profiler on, and profiling off to turn it off. Let me show you. So here I have the CRM sample application. I open the administrator visual perspective, go to the left menu, and add the profiling on command. And then profiling off. So then in the browser, you need to turn profiling on when you are ready to reproduce the scenario that causes performance problems. Then you actually reproduce it and then turn the profiling off. When you turn the profiling off, ORM will display the profiling report, which will help you pinpoint where the problem is. Let me show you. So here I have an application for funeral homes, and a couple of scenarios are a little slow when you open an account and when you save the account. I have added profiling on and off commands to the menu of the application. An account can be opened by clicking on this icon here, so I'm ready to reproduce the first slowdown. I click on the profiling on, get the confirmation message, then I open the account, and then I turn profiling off. Now I can see the profiling report. In order to properly understand this report, you have to know a few things about the ORM architecture. There are four major ORM components involved in almost any operation done by the user: the browser, the web server, Tomcat, the ORM server, or simply server, and the database. What the browser and the database do is obvious. Operations done by the web server that may cause a slowdown involve calculations of presentation rules of the attributes, as well as applicability conditions of the operations. Operations done by the server that may cause a slowdown involve execution of business rules. So a performance report includes the details of potentially time-consuming operations performed by all major components. A report consists of three sections: a summary of potentially slow operations, and the execution details of the web server and the server. Duration of all operations is in milliseconds everywhere in the report. So here we can see that it took around 800 milliseconds to execute the entire request. Of this time, 700 milliseconds have been taken up by Tomcat and 130 milliseconds by the browser. Of the Tomcat time, 336 milliseconds have been taken by the ORM server. Below you can also see times for different web server operations. Here we can look at the web server details. We can see that all the execution time went into fulfilling the getFormData action request. If we expand the node, we can see further details, including calls to the server, calculating expressions, and so on. And if we look at the server details, we can see what the server has been doing. If we look at the summary and the details of this particular request, we can see that there is not much to optimize here. The time is more or less evenly spread between components, and there is no single culprit that takes up most of the time. But let's have a look at another scenario, saving the account. So I turn the profiler on again. Save the account. And turn the profiler off. Now we can see that the lion's share of the overall time is taken by the server. 2,300 milliseconds out of 2,600 milliseconds. Now if I inspect the server details, I can see that almost all of the time is used by the update entity request here. And if I expand it further, I can see that some of the time is used by execution of business rules, but most of the time is used by execution of the cross-reference rules. Most of the time, execution of cross-reference rules can be optimized. I just need to check the rule log and disable some or all cross-reference rules. This is explained in detail in the Optimization of Business Rules tutorial. Please watch it. Finally, a few tips about profiling. When you profile different scenarios, make sure that you do not profile this scenario immediately after you log in. Execute this scenario at least once before you profile it. For example, open the account and save it first without profiling before executing it again under the profiler. This is because first execution always takes longer and sometimes a lot longer due to caching, Java class loading, and so on. Also, do not combine different scenarios in one profiling session. Do it one scenario at a time. And if you do not understand what is going on in the profiler, you can always download the profiler logs by clicking on the download button and sending them to support@whereim.com for further investigation.